Super Falcons are always very weak at the flanks, from the left and right back. She said so. She acknowledged that. And she knew that Alozier's position was where she could capitalize. And when Deborah Abiodun was able to lose that focus there, lose that ball, the Banyana capitalized on that, and that's where they got their first goal through Tembi Gatlana. The coach acknowledged that Deborah Abiodun did ask to be substituted because she had picked up an injury, but he pleaded that she should give him 15 minutes of the game. That 15 minutes of that game that he pleaded costed Nigeria a lot, because that's how she was not able to be that fit to continue with the ball, and it was dispossessed, and the Banyana took that opportunity to get their first goal. So it felt like he also acknowledged, the coach also acknowledged that the players did not play to instruction, that they played on their own. They did not follow the instruction that he laid down for them. They were not focused on the instruction that he laid down, and the fact that he made substitutions very late into the game. But this is just showing that as at the time when we had the pre-match conference into this game, where he hit hard on preparations, that before now, we know the kind of preparation that the Super Falcons will always get heading up into a competition like this. But that's not the same. That's not the same at the moment. So, judging by that and all that has happened, we are seeing that lack of preparation, when you plan to fail, you fail woefully. And other countries, other African countries have gone ahead. They've been able to invest. They've been able to do the assignments. Before now, the 2024 competition, Banyana fell to Nigeria. But they came for revenge this time around and were able to capitalize on all our mistakes and were able to get this 2-1 win against Nigeria, stopping Nigeria from going into the intercontinental playoff of the Women's World Cup. It just shows that reality has set in. The new norm is now what is the reality right now, and Nigeria must have to wake up. So it's not a conspiracy, but what is expected to shake up the system, Udoka.
All right, thank you very much, Onyinyechi. Now, let's talk about the strength in African football, the paradigm shift. I mean, I saw a post one time saying that the reason why the Super Falcons have been winning the Nations Cup for women is because Malawi has not been in the picture. Yes, they are debutants at the AFCON, Women's Africa Cup of Nations, but they've been doing well when it comes to some other competitions. Now, making it to the Nations Cup, should we just come to the new reality that Nigeria is no longer that powerhouse that we used to be when it comes to women's football on the continent?
It would be far-fetched to say we should come to a reality that Nigeria is no longer the powerhouse. Nigeria still stands as the powerhouse, judging by the number of accomplishments and achievements that they've had on African women's football. But the reality right now is that other nations were able to take steps back, know that, oh, they cannot overthrow Nigeria, but they can catch up with them. Understanding that Nigeria is at a static point, they believe that they are at the peak and they do not want to do more to get higher, knowing that it's a moving train. That's the reality right now. We know how Morocco were able to step away from women's football for 10 years and then invest in the women, invest in infrastructure, invest in coaching, get a coach who is a World Cup winner in order to redefine the women's national team so that they can make, and that's the reason why they made back-to-back finals at the Women's African Cup of Nations. There was investment. Ghana had to run a program, a CAF-sponsored program for women's football in order to grow women's football, grow the domestic side, in order to come back as the Black Queens and then dominate on the African scene. That's the reason why they picked up the third place at the 2024 competition and right now are still in a hunt for the 2027 ticket to Brazil. Malawi needed a condom company and a specific club to be able to put women together, invest, put in money, and then create a national team that would make it to this 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations. Malawi before now were proud, could only pride two players, Temwa Chawinga and Tabitha Chawinga. But the condom company, the club, the specific club, which I cannot mention right now, not for PR, were able to sit and then invest. FIFA, Confederation of African Football, had to sit with the president of the Malawian Football Association to be able to come up with something and then support the girls and then create something to have a team to this Women's African Cup of Nations. We had an interview with the president of the Football Association of Malawi, and he said, this is investment. This is intentional investment, and that's what we are seeing right now with Malawi, making their final at a debut at the Women's African Cup of Nations. It is not far-fetched. Other teams had to go back to the drawing board, take a few steps back and make sure that they are intentional. They understand the paradigm around African women's football. They understand that it's all about investing in African women's football. Super Falcons have always gone with, not with external support, but with individual, mentality. These girls have always had this individual mentality, knowing that no matter what is happening around them, no matter whatever is owed, no matter if they're not getting the same treatment as the men, that they would always come with that resilient spirit, as a woman is always resilient, and come up with a title. But right now, that is not working for them anymore, because other teams who have gone with investment, who has gone with intentionality, are now running ahead of them. Coach Madugu did mention about the preparation of these girls. Defending champions who did not get enough preparation. There was a time that we heard that they were going to play Ghana, and that Ghana game was cancelled, only for them to get Tanzania as their opponents for the international friendly. We remember before now how the Super Falcons will go play Portugal. They will have to travel for training camp abroad, but that was not the same as this time around. And Coach Madugu did mention that at the pre-match conference. For those who were throwing criticisms around him, you cannot tell him who to play or who to field, because he knows the players at the training and he sees how they perform. So if you wanted to tell him who and who to play, then you should come take the job as the coach. But we understand that this is all about preparation for these girls. So it felt like the NFF planned for them to fail, or did not give them enough attention to be able to defend this title and come with a good performance at the Women's African Cup of Nations. Quickly, Udoka, let me test the polls of a journalist who's also following this competition and is here with me in Morocco. All right. I will just ask one question, and that question, Kachi Okafo over here, just ask one question. Kachi, what is happening? What has happened to the Super Falcons of Nigeria? Just in brief.
To summarize, a lot has happened to the girls, but I'll just stick with the fact that no champions would reign forever. And if you want to maintain a certain status, if you already hit the peak, the zenith, it means you have to continue to do something right for you to be able to maintain that status. We've seen that with, Real Madrid, all the dominance in the Champions League. At some point, other teams started coming up to pull them down. So the Super Falcons cannot continue at the rate of they are Super Falcons. They can always get out there and do something. Other teams in Africa are catching up. The gap is closing up rapidly. Okay. That's if they've not even caught up with us already.
So this was supposed to happen for a reality check.
I mean, I said yesterday that this was bound to happen at some point, and then lessons are learned or not, because we want to see if the NFF will, react, how they would react to this, what they will do going forward. Like the coach rightly said, you cannot compare the preps of last, WAFCON to this one. This one, Provial Super Falcons preparations. This one we're looking for. Where are the friendlies? What has been done? There's a way you get a team ready, and then when they now go out there and fail, you'll be like, okay, so I did everything right. Yeah. At this point, the federation can't even say they got everything right in terms of preparation.
You just heard from Kachi Okafo. Thank you so much. So it's all about how they prepared. We saw every one of them very emotional at the games yesterday. After the games yesterday, I beg your pardon, very emotional. We saw very, down-looking Asisa Toshwala. We saw Jennifer in tears. Rin Sola could not even hold herself at the mixed zone, talking to us in tears. We saw Esther Okoronkwo also in tears. So they also feel it. They feel it. We see the captain apologizing to Nigerians, telling them they would do better. But the truth is, it is not in their hands. It's all about preparation. And the administration has this on their shoulders.
All right. Thank you very much, Onyinyechi, for that insight of what happened yesterday between Nigeria and South Africa. And, of course, all the conversations surrounding the failure of Nigeria to qualify for the Women's World Cup. I'm sure you'll be giving us more updates on our subsequent news bulletins. Thank you very much so far. You've done a fantastic job. Thank you.